Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second to last of many sessions this past week or so of A Game at Chess by Thomas Middleton. We are working on a cut down version of the text that we're working to cut down even more. In our previous session, we had a cut down version of the text that we have now removed some things from again and added some things back in. As we're looking, we will probably be making note in our little chat about other bits and bobs that we may be able to cut for our final session next. We have many readers here. Say hello, readers.
Hello.
And we will get started with the top of the show.
Huh? What angle of the world is this? That I can neither see the politic face, nor with my refined nostrils taste the footsteps of any of my disciples, sons and heirs, as well as of my designs and institution. I thought they had spread all over the world by this time, covered the earth's face, and made dark the land like the Egyptian grasshoppers. Here's too much light appears, shot from the eyes of truth, and goodness never yet deflowered. Sure they never were here. Then is their monarchy unperfect yet? Up, error! Wake! Father of supererogation, rise! It is Ignatius calls thee, Loyola.
What have you done? Oh, I could sleep in ignorance immortally. The slumber is so pleasing. I saw the bravest setting for a game now that ever mine eye fixed on.
What game, prithee?
The noblest game of all, a game at chess betwixt our side and the White House. The men set all in their just order, ready to go to it.
Were any of my sons placed for the game?
Yes, and a daughter too, a secular daughter that plays the Black Queen's pawn, he the Black Bishop's.
Ever power could show a mastery in thee, let it appear in this.
It's but a dream, a vision, you must think.
I care not what, so I behold the children of my cunning and see what rank they keep.
You have your wish. Behold, there's a full number of the game. Kings and their pawns, queens, bishops, knights and dukes.
Dukes, they're called rooks by some.
Corruptedly, la roque the word, custode de la roche, the keeper of the forts, in whom both kings repose much confidence, and for their trust's sake, courage and worth, do well deserve those titles.
The answer's high. I see my son and daughter.
Those are two pawns, the Black Queens and Black Bishops.
Pawns argue but poor spirits and slight preferments, not worthy of the name of my disciples. If I had stood so nigh, I would have cut the bishop's throat, but I'd have had his place, and told the queen a love tale in her ear would make her best pulse dance. There's no elixir of brain or spirit amongst them.
Why would you have them play against themselves? That's quite against the rule of game, Ignatius.
Pish, I would rule myself, not observe rule.
Why then, you'd play a game all by yourself.
I would do anything to rule alone. It is rare to have the world reined in by one.
See him anon, and mark him as they in their play. Observe as they dance, as in a dance they glide away.
Oh, with what longings will this breast be tossed until I see this great game won and lost.
I ne'er see that face, but my pity rises when I behold so clear a masterpiece of heaven's art, wrought out of dust and ashes, and at next thought to give her lost eternally in being not ours, but the daughter of heresy. My soul bleeds at mine eyes.
There should truth speak, if not in such sorrow. Their tears plainly beshrew me if she weep not heartily. What is my peace to her to take such pains in it? If I wander to loss, why should my oversight go in the best game that e'er Christian lost? Raise the least spring of pity in her eye. It's doubtless a great charity, and no virtue could win me surer.
Blessed things prevail with it. If ever goodness made a gracious promise, it is in yonder look. What little pains would build a fort for virtue to all memory in that sweet creature, were the groundwork firmer?
It hath been all my glory to be firm in what I have professed.
That is the enemy that steals your strength away and fights against you. Your firmness that way makes you more infirm for the right Christian conflict. There I spied a zealous primitive sparkle, but now flew from your devoted eye, able to blow up all the heresies that ever sat in council with your spirit. And here comes he whose sanctimonious breath will make that spark of flame. List to him, virgin, at whose first entrance princes will fall prostrate. Women are weaker vessels.
By my penitence, a comely presentation, and a habit to admiration reverent.
But the heart, lady, so meek, that as you see good charity pictured still with young ones in her arms, so will he cherish all his young, tractable, sweet, obedient daughters, even in his bosom, in his own dear bosom. I commit you to the great worker's hands, to whose grave worth I fit my reverence, as to you my wishes.
Why they're subtle?
There's a little passage made.
Let me contemplate with holy wonder season my access, and by degrees approach the sanctuary of unmatched beauty, set in grace and goodness. Amongst the daughters of men I have not found a more catholical aspect. That eye doth promise single life and meek obedience. Upon those lips the sweet fresh buds of youth, the holy dew of prayer lies, like pearl dropped from the opening eyelids of the morn upon the bashful rose. Not beauteously, a gentle blast, not rigorously opposed, would look upon that cheek, and how delightfully the courteous physic of a tender penance, whose utmost cruelty should not exceed the first fear of a bride, to bear down frailty, would work to sound health your long festered judgment, and make your merit, which through erring ignorance appears but spotted righteousness to me, are clearer than the innocence of infants.
To that good work I bow, and will become obedience' humblest daughter, since I find the assistant of a sacred strength to aid me. The labor is as easy to serve virtue the right way, since 'tis she I ever serve, in my desire, though I transgressed in judgment.
That's easily absolved amongst the rest. You shall not find the virtue that you serve now a sharp and cruel mistress. Her ears open to all your supplications. You may boldly and safely let in the most secret sin into her knowledge, which, like vanished man, never returns into the world again. Fate looks up not more trulier.
To the guilty that may appear some benefit.
Who's so innocent and ne'er stands in need on it in some kind? If every thought were blab that so confessed, the very air we breathe would be unblessed. Out of work indeed, which is to catch her inclination. That's the special use we make of all our practice in all kingdoms, for by discovering their most secret frailties, things which once ours, they must not hide from us. That's the first article of the creed we teach them, finding to what point their blood most inclines, know best to act them to our designs. Daughter, the sooner you disperse your errors, the sooner you make haste to your recovery. You must part with them. To be nice or modest towards this good action is to imitate the bashfulness of one conceals an ulcer, the uncomely parts the tumour vexes, till it be past cure. Resolve you thus far, lady, the privatest thought that runs to hide itself in the most secret corner of your heart now must be of my acquaintance.
I stand not much in fear of any action guilty of that black time, most noble holiness. I must confess, as in a sacred temple thronged with an auditory, some come rather to feed on human objects than to taste of angels' food. So in the congregation of quick thoughts, which are more infinite than such assemblies, I cannot with true safety speak for all. Some have been wanderers, some fond, some sinful. But those found ever but poor entertainment. They had small encouragement to come again. The single life, which I strongly profess now, heaven pardon me, I was about to part from.
Then you have passed through, love?
But left no stain in all my passage, sir, no print of wrong for the most chaste maid that may trace my footsteps.
How came you off so clear?
I was discharged by an inhuman accident, which modesty forbids me to put any language to.
Now you forget yourself. All actions clad in their proper language, though most sordid, my ear is bound by duty to let in and lock up everlastingly. Shall I help you? He was not found to answer his creation. A vestal virgin in a slip of grace could not deliver man's lost modestly. 'Twas the white bishop's pawn?
The same, blessed sir.
A Puritan well pickled.
By base treachery and violence prepared by his competitor, the Black Knight's pawn, whom I shall ever hate for it.
'Twas of revenge is the unmanliest way that e'er rival took, a villainy that for your sake I'll ne'er absolve him of.
I wish it not so heavy.
He must feel it. I never yet gave absolution to any crime of that unmanning nature. It seems then you refused him for defect. Therefore you stand not pure from the desire that other women have in ends of marriage. Pardon my boldness if I sift your goodness to the last grain.
I reverence your pains, sir, and must acknowledge custom to enjoy what other women challenge and possess more ruled me than desire. For my desires dwell all in ignorance, and I'll never wish to know that fond way may redeem them hence.
Never was so taken, beset doubly now with her judgment. What a strength it puts forth. I bring work nearer to you when you've seen a masterpiece of man, composed by heaven for a great prince's favour, kingdom's love, so exact, envy could not find a place to stick a blot on person or on fame. Have you not found ambition swell your wish then, and desire stir your blood?
By virtue, never. I've only in the dignity of the creature admired the Maker's glory.
She's impregnable. Second siege must not pull off so tamely. She's one of those who must be informed to know a daughter's duty, which some take untaught. Her modesty brings her behindhand much. My old means I must fly to. Yes, 'tis it. Please you, peruse this small tract of obedience. 'Twill help you forward well.
Sir, that's a virtue I've ever thought on with special reverence.
You will conceive by that my power, your duty.
The knowledge will be precious of both, sir.
What makes yon troubler of all Christian water so near that blessed spring? But that I know her goodness is the rock from whence it issues, unmovable as fate, 'twould more afflict me than all my sufferings for her, which, so long as she holds constant to the house she comes of, the whiteness of the cause, the side, the quality, are sacrifices to her worth and virtue. And though confined in my religious joys, I'd marry her and possess her.
Behold, lady, the two inhuman enemies, the Black Knight's pawn, and the White Bishop's, the gelder and the gelded.
There's my grief, my hate.
In the Jesuit's fingers. By this hand I'll give my part now for a parrot's feather. She never returns virtuous. 'Tis impossible. I'll be resolved now. Most noble virgin.
Ignoble villain! Dare that unhallowed tongue lay hold upon a sound so gracious? What's nobleness to thee, or virgin chastity? They're out of thy acquaintance. Talk of violence that shames creation. Deeds would make night blush, that's company for thee. Hast thou the impudence to court me with a leprosy upon thee, able to infect the walls of a great building?
Son of offence, forbear. Go, set your evil before your eyes. A penitential vesture would better become you, some shirt of hair.
And you, 3 pound smock instead of an alb, an epicene chasuble. This holy felon robs safe and close. I feel a sting that's worse too. A white pawn has so much charity to accept a reconcilement. Make thine own conditions, for I begin to be extremely burdened.
No truth or peace of that black house protested is to be trusted, but for hope of quittance and warned by diffidence, I may entrap him soonest. I admit conference.
It's a nobleness that makes confusion cleave to all my merits.
That treatise will instruct you fully.
So, the business of the universal monarchy goes forward well now, the great college pot that should be always boiling with the fuel of all intelligences possible through the Christian kingdoms. Is this fellow our prime incendiary, and one of those that promised the White Kingdom 7 years since to our Black House? Put a new daughter to him. The great work stands. He minds nor monarchy nor hierarchy, divine a principality. I have bragged less, but have done more than all the conclave of them. Take their assistant fathers in all parts, yea, and their father general into boot. And what I've done facetiously, with pleasant subtlety and bewitching courtship. Abused all my believers with delight. They took a comfort to be cozened by me. To many a soul I've let in mortal poison, whose cheeks have cracked with laughter to receive it. He spies me now. I must uphold his reverence, especially in public, though I know Priapus, guardian of the cherry gardens, Bacchus and Venus chit, is not more vicious.
Blessings accumulation keep with you, sir.
Honour's dissimulation be your due, sir.
How deep in duty his observance plunges. His charge must needs be reverend.
I am confessor to this black knight too. You see, devotion's fruitful. She hath many sons and daughters.
We do this the more to amaze our adversaries, to behold the reverence we give these Gitonins, and to beget a sound opinion of holiness in them and zeal in us, as also to invite the like obedience in other pucelles by our meek example. So, is your trifle vanished?
Trifle, call you her? It's a good pawn, sir. Sure, she's the second pawn in the White House, and to the opening of the game, I hold her.
Aye, you hold well for that. I know your play of old. If there were more queen's pawns, you'd ply the game a great deal harder. Now, sir, we're in private. But what for the great work, the main existence, the hope monarchal?
It goes on in this.
In this? I cannot see it.
You may deny so. A dial's motion, because you cannot see the hand move, or a wind that rends the cedar.
Where stops the current of intelligence? Your father general, bishop of the Black House, complains for want of work.
Here's from all parts, sufficient to employ him. I received a packet from the assistant fathers lately. Look, there is Anglica, this Galicia.
Aye, marry, sir, there's some quick flesh in this.
Germanica.
I think they have sealed this with butter.
This Italica. Hispanica here.
Hispanica, blind work this. The Jesuit hath writ this with the juice of lemon, sure. It must be held close to the fire of purgatory ere it can be read.
You would not lose your jest, knight, though it wound your own name. Take heed, we're entrapped. The White King's pawn.
He's made our own man. Half in voto yours. His heart's in the Black House. Leave him to me. Most of all friends endeared, preciously special.
You see my outside, but you know my heart. Knight, great difference in the color. There's some intelligence. And as more ripens, so your knowledge still shall prove the richer. We must part. I dare no longer of this theme discuss. The ear of state is quick and jealous.
Excellent estimation. Thou art valued above the fleet of gold that came short home. Poor Jesuit-ridden soul. How art thou fooled out of thy faith, from thy allegiance drawn? Which way soe'er thou takest, thou art a lost pawn.
And here again, it is the daughter's duty to obey her confessor's command in all things, without exception or expostulation. 'Tis the most general rule that e'er I read of. Yet, when I think how boundless virtue is, goodness and grace, 'tis gently reconciled.
He's hard upon it. 'Twas the most modest key that I could use to open my intents. Little or no pains goes to some people. Ah, what have we here? A sealed note. Whence this? To the Black Bishop's pawn these. To me? Strange. Who subscribes it? Black King. What would he? Pawn, sufficiently holy, but unmeasurably politic. We had late intelligence from our most industrious servant, famous in all parts of Europe, our knight of the Black House, that you have at this instant in chase the White Queen's pawn, and very likely by the carriage of your game to entrap and take her. These are therefore to require you by the burning affection I bear to the rape of devotion, that speedily, upon the surprisal of her, by all watchful advantage, you make some attempt upon the White Queen's person, whose fall or prostitution our lust most violently rages for. Sir, after my desire hath took a julep for its own inflammation, that yet scorches me. I shall have cooler time to think of yours. She hath passed the general rule, the large extent of our prescriptions for obedience, and yet with what alacrity of soul her eyes move on the letters.
Holy sir, too long I've missed you, worthy sir. Lay your commands as thick and fast upon me as you can speak them. How I thirst to hear them. Set me to work upon this spacious virtue, boundless obedience, the humblest yet the mightiest of all duties. Well, here set down on the universal goodness.
She's further off from understanding now the language of my intent than at first meeting.
For virtue's sake, good sir, command me something. Make all trial of my duty in some small service. And as you find the faith of my obedience there, then trust it with a greater.
You speak sweetly. I do command you first, then.
With what joy I do prepare my duty.
To meet me, seal a kiss of love upon my lips. First disobedient? So little too? How shall I trust you with a greater then, which was your own request?
Good men may err sometimes. You're mistaken, sure. If this be virtue's path, 'tis a most strange one. I never came this way before.
That's your ignorance. If there be 20 ways to some poor village, 'tis strange that virtue should be put to one. Your fear is wondrous faulty. Cast it from you. 'Twill gather else in time a disobedience, too stubborn for my part.
Have I locked myself at unawares into sin's servitude with more desire of goodness? Is this the top of all strict order, the three vowed people of poverty, obedience, and chastity? The last, the most forgot. When a virgin's ruined, I see the work of obedience is better than half finished.
What a stranger are you to duty grown? What distance keep you? Must I bid you come forward to a happiness yourself should sue for? 'Twas ne'er so with me. I dare not let this stubbornness be known. 'Twould bring such fierce hate upon you. Yet presume not to make that courteous care a privilege for wilful disobedience. It turns then into the blackness of a curse upon you. Come, come, be nearer.
Nearer?
Was that scorn? Let it not dare to stir abroad again. The stronger ill will cope with it.
Bless me, threatens me, and quite dismays the good strength that should help me. I never was so doubtful of my safety.
'Twas but my jealousy. Forgive me, sweetness. Yours is the house of meekness, and no venom lives under that roof. Be nearer. Why so fearful? Nearer the altar, the more safe and sacred.
But nearer to the offerer, oft more wicked.
Plain and most unsufferable contempt. My glory have I lost on this woman in freely offering that she should have kneeled a year in vain for. My respect is darkened. Give me my reverence again, thou'st robbed me of in thy repulse. Thou shalt not carry it hence.
Sir?
Thou art too great a winner to depart, and I too deep a loser to give way to it.
Then
Lay me down, reputation, before thou stirrest. Thy nice virginity is recompense too little for my love. Thy loss is but thine own. In my discovery, the whole society suffers, and in that the hope of absolute monarchy eclipsed. Assurance thou canst make none for thy secrecy, but by thy honours lost. That act must bore thee.
my distressed condition.
Dost thou weep? If thou hadst any pity, this necessity would wring it from thee. I must else destroy thee. We must not trust the policy of Europe upon a woman's tongue.
Then take my life, sir, and leave mine honour for my guide to heaven.
Take heed I take not both, which I have vowed, if longer thou resist me.
Help! Oh, help!
Art thou so cruel for an honour's bubble to undo a whole fraternity and disperse the secret of most princes locked in us?
For heaven and virtue's sake!
Must force confound?
With a hey nonny nonny and a tra-la-la-la-la.
Oh, what's that? Silence, if there worth be in thee.
I'll venture my escape upon all dangers now.
Who comes to take me? Let me see that pawn's face.
I will discover thee, arch hypocrite, to all the kindreds of the earth.
Tra-la-la-la-lee-la-la.
Confusion! That voice rings the alarm of my undoing. Oh, which way came she from me?
Are you mad? Can lust infatuate a man so hopeful? No patience in your blood. The dog-star reigns sure. Time and fair temper would have wrought her pliant. I spied a pawn of the White House walk near us and made that noise on purpose to give warning. For my own turn, which end in all I work for.
Methinks I stand over a powder vault. Match now kindling. What's to be done?
Ask the Black Bishop's counsel. You're his pawn. 'Tis his own case, he will defend you mainly. And happily, here he comes, with the Black Knight too.
Oh, you made noble work for the White House yonder. This act will fill the adversary's mouth and blow the Lutherans' cheeks till they crack again.
This will advance the great monarchical business in all parts well and help the agents forward. What I in 7 years laboured to accomplish, 1 minute sets back by some codpiece college still.
I dwell not, sir, alone in this default. The Black House yields me partners.
All more cautelous.
Qui caute caste, that's my motto ever. I've travelled with that word over most kingdoms and lain safe with all nations. Of a leaking bottom I've been as often tossed on Venus' seas as trimmer fresher vessels, when sounder barks have lain at anchor, that is, kept the door.
She hath no witness then?
None.
Gross. Witness? When went a man of his society to mischief with a witness?
I have done it then. Away upon the wings of speed, take post horse, cast 30 leagues of earth behind thee suddenly, leave letters antedated with our house 10 days at least from this.
Bishop, I taste thee. Good, strong episcopal counsel. Take a bottle on it, 'twill serve thee all thy journey.
But sir, how am I getting forth unspied?
There's
check again.
No, I'll help that.
Well said, my bouncing Jesuitess.
There lies a secret vault.
Away, make haste then.
Run for my cabinet of intelligences, for fear they search the house. Good bishop, burn 'em rather. I cannot stand to pick 'em now.
Begone, the danger's all in you. Let me see, Queen's pawn. How formally hath picked up his intelligences. Hath laid them all in truckle beds, methinks, and like court harbingers hath writ their names in chalk upon their chambers. Anglica, this is the English house. What news there, trow? Ha! By this light, most of these are bawdy epistles. Time they were burnt, indeed. Whole bundles of them. A fire, good Jesuitess, a fire. What have you there?
a note, sir, of state policy, and an exceeding safe one.
Pray, let's see it, sir. To sell away all the powder in a kingdom to prevent blowing up. That's safe, I'll label it. Here's a facetious observation now, and fits my humour better. He writes here, some wives in England will commit adultery and then send to Rome for a bull for their husbands.
Have they those shifts?
Oh, there's no female breathing sweeter and subtler. Here, wench, take these papers, scorch me 'em soundly, burn 'em to French russet. Do as I bid you, pawn.
Fear not. In all, I love roguery too well to let it fall. How now? What news with you?
The sting of conscience afflicts me so, for that inhuman violence upon the white bishop's pawn, it takes away my joy, my rest.
This 'tis to make an eunuch. You made a sport on't then?
Cease aggravation. I come to be absolved for it. Where's my confessor? Why dost thou point to the ground?
'Cause he went that way.
What's that?
Come, help me in with this cabinet, and after I have singed these papers thoroughly, I'll tell thee a strange story.
If it be sad, 'tis welcome.
'Tis not troubled with much mirth, sir.
Is this my pawn, she that should guard our person, or some pale figure of dejection, her shape usurping? Sorrow and affrightment have prevailed strangely with her.
King of integrity, queen of the same, and all the house, professors of noble candor, uncorrupted justice, and truth of heart, through my alone discovery, my life and honor wondrously preserved, I bring into your knowledge with my sufferings, fearful affrightments, and heart-killing terrors, the great incendiary of Christendom, the absolutist abuser of true sanctity, fair peace, and holy order, can be found in any part of the universal globe, who, making meek devotion keep the door, his lips being full of holy zeal at first, would have committed a foul rape upon me.
A rape? That's foul indeed. The very sound to our ear fouler than the fence itself to some kings of the earth.
Sir, to proceed. Gladly I offered life to preserve honor, which would not be accepted without both the chief of his ill aim being at mine honour, till heaven was pleased, by some unlooked-for accident, to give me courage to redeem myself.
When we find desperate sins in ill men's companies, we place a charitable sorrow there, but custom in their leprous inclination quits us of wonder, for our expectation is answered in their lives, but to find sin, yea, and a masterpiece of darkness sheltered under a robe of sanctity is able to draw all wonder to that monster only, and leave created monsters unadmired. The pride of him that took first fall for pride is to be angel-shaped, and imitate the form from whence he fell. But this offender, far baser than sin's master, fixed by vow to holy order, which his angel's method takes pride to use that shape to be a devil. It grieves me that my knowledge must be tainted with his infected name. O rather, with thy finger, point him out.
The place which he should fill is void, my lord. His guilt has scared him. The Black Bishop's pawn.
Have you nothing to say, Black Bishop, for your pawn? Somebody muted.
Black
it's
Bishop
Lynn.
is Lynn. It's a fun double for you, Lynn.
Oh, great.
Oh. Okay. Here, I have black on now. I thought that had to be somebody else. Ha! Mine! My pawn! The glory of his order, the prime and president zealot of the earth. Impudent pawn, for thy sake, at this minute modesty suffers. All that's virtuous blushes. The truth itself, like the sun vexed with a mist, looks red with anger.
Waste not one syllable, unfortunate pawn, of what I speak. Thou dost not plead distraction, a plea which will but faintly take thee off, neither from this Leviathan scandal that lies rolling upon the crystal waters of devotion, or, what may quit thee more, though enough nothing, fall down and foam, and by that pang discover the vexing spirit of falsehood strong within thee. Make thyself ready for perdition. There's no removing all the gain to scape it. This pawn or this, the bishop or myself, will take thee in the end. Play how thou canst.
Spite of sin's glorious ostentation, and all loud threats, those thunder cracks of pride, ushering a storm of malice, house of impudence, craft, and equivocation, my true cause shall keep the path it treads in.
I play thus then. Now in the hearing of this high assembly, bring forth the time of this attempt's conception.
Conception? Oh, how tenderly you handle it.
It seems, Black Knight, you are afraid to touch it.
Well, its eruption. Will she have it so then? Or you, White Bishop, for her? The more unclean, viled, and more impious that you urge the strain to, the greater will her shame's heap show in the end, and the wronged meek man's glory. The time, pawn.
Yesterday's cursed evening.
Ah, the treasure of my revenge. I cannot spend all on thee, ruin to spare for all thy kindred too. For honour's sake, call in more slanderers. I have such plentiful confusion, I know not how to waste it. I'll be nobler yet, and put her to her own house. King of meekness, take the cause to thee, for our hands too heavy. Our proofs will fall upon her like a tower, and grind her bones to powder.
What new engine has the devil raised in him now?
Is it he, and that the time? Stand firm now to your scandal, pray, do not shift your slander.
Shift your treacheries, they've worn one suit too long.
That holy man, so wrongfully accused by this lost pawn, hath not been seen these 10 days in these parts.
How?
Nay, at this instant, 30 leagues from hence.
Fathomless falsehood! Will it scape unblasted?
Can you make this appear?
Light is not clearer. By his own letters, most impartial monarch.
How wrongfully may sacred virtue suffer, sir?
Bishop, we have a treasure of that false heart.
Step forward and reach these proofs.
Amazement covers me. Can I be so forsaken of a cause so strong in truth and equity? Will virtue send me no aid in this hard time of friendship?
There's an infallible staff and a red hat reserved for you.
Oh, sir, endeared.
A staff that will not easily break. You may trust to it. And such a one had your corruption need of. There's a state fig for you now.
Behold all, how they cohere in one. I always held a charity so good to holiness professed that I ever believed rather the accuser false than the professor vicious.
A charity, like all virtues else, gracious and glorious.
Where settles the offence? Let the fault's punishment be derived from thence. We leave her to your censure.
Most just majesty.
Calamity of virtue, my queen, leave me too. Am I cast off as the olive casts her flowers? Poor friendless innocence, art thou left prey to the devourer?
No, thou art not lost. Let them put in their bloodiest resolutions, if the fair policy I aim at prospers. A man for speed now.
Let it be my honour, sir. Make me that flight that owes her my life's service.
Was not this brought about well for our honours?
Pish, that Galician brain can work out wonders.
Let's use her as, upon the like discovery, a mead was used at Venice. Everyone be ready with a penance. Begin, Majesty.
First, I enjoin thee to a 3 days fast for't.
Oh, you're too penurious, sir. I'll make it 4.
I to 12 hours kneeling at one time.
And in a room filled all with Aretine's pictures, more than the twice 12 labours of luxury, thou shalt not see so much as the chaste pommel of Lucrece stagger peeping. Nay, I'll punish thee for a discoverer. I'll torment thy modesty.
And after that 4 days fast, the Inquisition house, strengthened with bread and water for worse penance.
Why, well said, Bishop of our house, nobly aggravated.
Virtue, to show her influence more strong, fits me with patience, mightier than my wrong.
Let me a little solace my designs with the remembrance of some brave ones past, to cherish the futurity of project, whose motion must be restless till that great work, called the possession of the earth, be ours. Was it not I procured a gallant fleet from the White Kingdom to secure our coasts against the infidel pirate, under pretext of more necessitous expedition? Who made the jails fly open without miracle and let the locusts out, those dangerous flies, whose property is to burn corn with touching? Whose policy was it to put a silenced muzzle on all the barking tongue men of the time? My light spleen skips and shakes my ribs to think on't. My pawn. How now? The news?
Expect none. God, expect none at all until I can find the text again. What on earth happened to it? That was weird. God. Right. And expect none very pleasing that comes, sir, of my bringing. Oh, God, it's gone again. What is this thing doing? It's just telling me that my browser has been updated to the latest version. Why did they have to decide that now? Okay, here we go again. Sorry. Expect none very pleasing that comes, sir, of my bringing. I'm for sad things.
My conscience is so tender-hoofed of late. Every nail pricks it.
This may prick yours, too, if there be any quick flesh in a yard on't.
Mine? Mischief must find a deep nail and a driver beyond the strength of any Machiavel the politic kingdoms fatten to reach mine. Prithee, compunction, needle pricked a little, unbind this sore wound.
Sir, your plot's discovered.
Which of the 20,900 fourscore and 5 canst tell?
Bless us, so many? How do poor countrymen have but one plot to keep a cow on, yet in law for that? You cannot know 'em all sure by their names, sir?
Yes, were their numbers trebled. Thou hast seen a globe stand on the table in my closet?
A thing, sir, full of countries and hard words?
True, with lines drawn, some tropical, some oblique.
I scarce can read. I was brought up in blindness.
Just such a thing, if ere my skull be opened, will my brains look like.
Like a globe of countries.
Aye, and some master politician that has sharp state eyes will go near to pick out the plots and every climate where they fastened. 'Twill puzzle 'em too.
I'm of your mind too for that, sir.
They'll find 'em to fall thick upon some countries. They'd need you spectacles. But I turn to you now. What plot is that discovered?
Your last brat, sir. Begot twixt the Black Bishop and yourself, your antedated letters about the Jesuit.
Discovered? How?
The White Knight's policy hath outstripped yours, joined with the assistant counsel of his duke. The White Bishop's pawn undertook the journey.
'Tis but a poor bawdy pawn out of the way. Enough of them in all parts.
Have you heard all, then?
The wonder's passed with me, but some shall down for it.
Set free that virtuous pawn from all her wrongs. Let her be brought with honor to the face of her malicious adversaries.
Good.
Noble chaste knight, a title of that candor. The greatest prince on earth without impeachment may have the dignity of his worth comprised in. This fair delivering act virtue will register in that white book of the defense of virgins, where the clear fames of all preserving knights are to eternal memory consecrated.
Sorry, lost my place.
I'll take no knowledge on't.
I'll take no knowledge on't. What makes you here? How dares yon pawn unpenanced, with a cheek fresh as her falsehood yet, where castigation hath left no pale print of her visiting anguish, appear in this assembly? Let me alone. Sin must be bold. That's all the grace 'tis born to.
What's this?
Thunderstruck.
Assist me, goodness. I shall to prison again.
At least I've mazed them. I'll on with it. Impudence is mischief's patrimony. Is this justice? Is injured reverence no sharply arighted? I ever held that majesty impartial that, like most equal heaven, looks on the manners, not on the shapes they shroud in.
This Black Knight will never take an answer. 'Tis a victory to make him understand he doth amiss, when he knows in his own clear understanding that he doth nothing else. Show him the testimony confirmed by good men, how that foul attempter got but this morning to the place from whence he dated his forged lines for 10 days past.
Why, may not the corruption sleep in this by some connivance, as you have waked in ours by too rash confidence?
Now to act treachery with an angel's tongue. Since all's come out, I'll bring him strangely in again. Where is this injured chastity, this goodness, whose worth no transitory peace can value, this rock of constant and invincible virtue that made sinst tempest weary of his fury.
What? Is this pawn distracted?
I think rather there is some notable master prize of roguery this drum strikes up for.
Let me fall with reverence before this blessed altar.
This is madness.
Well, mark the end. I stand for roguery still and will not change my side.
I shall be taxed, I know. I care not what the Black House thinks of me.
What say you now?
I will not be unlaid yet.
However censure flies, I honour sanctity. That is my object. I intend no other. I saw this glorious and most valiant virtue fight the most noblest combat with the devil.
Then thou heardst the violence intended.
'Tis a truth I joy to justify. I was an agent on virtue's part, and raised that confused noise that startled his attempt, and gave her liberty.
Oh, 'tis a righteous story she hath told, sir. My life and fame stand mutually engaged both to the truth and goodness of this pawn.
Doth it appear to you yet clear as the sun?
Alas, I believed it long before 'twas done.
Degenerate, base, perfidious, traitorous pawn!
What? Are you all beside yourselves?
But I remember that pawn.
Oh, may a fearful barrenness blast both my hopes and pleasures if I brought not her ruin in my pity, and you trap for her more sure confusion.
Have I won now? Did I not say 'twas craft and machination? I smelt conspiracy all the way it went, although the mess were covered. I'm so used to it.
That queen would I fain finger.
You're too hot, sir. If she were took, the game would be ours quickly. My aim's at that white knight. Entrap him first. The Duke will follow too.
I would that bishop were in my diocese. I'd soon change his whiteness.
Sir, I could whip you up a pawn immediately. I know where my game stands.
Do it suddenly. Advantage least must not be lost in this play.
Pawn, thou art ours.
It's taken by default, by wilful negligence. Guard the sacred persons. Look well to the white bishop, for that pawn gave guard to the queen and him in the third place.
See what sure peace you lock your confidence in. I made this pawn here by corruption ours, as soon as honour by creation yours. This whiteness upon him is but the leprosy of pure dissimulation. View him now, his heart and his intents are of our colour.
Most dangerous hypocrite.
One made against us.
Hath my goodness, clemency, love, and favour gracious raised thee from a condition next to popular labour? And dost thou fall from the top bough by the rottenness of thy alone corruption, like a fruit that's over-ripened by the beams of favour? Let thine own weight reward thee. I forgot thee.
Oak like heaven's substitute.
You have him. We can spare him, and his shame will make the rest look better to their game.
The more cunning we must use, then.
We shall match you, play how you can, perhaps and mate you too.
I rest upon you, knight, for my advancement now.
For the staff, the strong staff that will hold, and the red hat fit for the guilty mazard. Into the empty bag know thy first way. Pawns that are lost are ever out of play.
How's this?
No replications. You know me. No doubt ere long you'll have more company. The bag is big enough. 'Twill hold us all.
I sue to thee. Prithee, be one of us. Let my love win thee. Thou'st done truth this day. and yesterday my honour's noble service. The best pawn of our house could not transcend it.
My pity flamed with zeal, especially when I foresaw your marriage. Then it mounted.
How? Marriage?
That contaminating act would have spoiled all your fortunes. A rape? God bless us!
Thou talkest of marriage?
Yes, yes, you do marry. I saw the man.
The man?
An absolute handsome gentleman. A complete one. You'll say so when you see him. Heir to 3 red hats, besides his general hopes in the Black House.
Why, sure, thou'rt much mistaken in this man. I've promised single life to all my affections.
Promise you what you will, or I, or all on's. There's a fate rules and overrules us all, methinks.
Why, how came you to see or know this mystery?
A magical glass I bought of an Egyptian presented the man to me. Your name brings him as often as I use it, and methinks I never have enough. Person and postures are all so pleasing.
This is wondrous strange. The faculties of soul are still the same. I can feel no motion tend that way.
We do not always feel the faith we live by, nor ever see our growth, yet both work upward.
'Twas well applied. But may I see him too?
Oh, surely you may, without all doubt or fear, observing the right use as I was taught it, not looking back, nor questioning the spectre.
Trust it with me. I long to see the man.
Pray, follow me then, and I'll ease you instantly. This is the room he did appear to me in, and look you, this the magical glass that showed him.
I find no motion yet. What should I think on it? A sudden fear invades me, a faint trembling.
Oh, that bodes good luck still. Sign you shall change state speedily. For that trembling is always the first symptom of a bride. For any vain fears that may accompany his apparition, by my truth to friendship I quit you of the least. The very air conspires to do him honour, and creates sweet vocal sounds, as if a bridegroom entered, which argues the blessed harmony of your loves.
And will the using of my name produce him?
Nay, of yours only, else the wonder halted. To clear you of that doubt, I'll put the difference in practice. The first thing I do, and make his invocation in the name of others.
'Twill satisfy me much, that.
It shall be done. Thou, whose gentle form and face filled lately this Egyptian glass, by the imperious, powerful name and the universal fame of the mighty Black House Queen, I conjure thee to be seen. What? See you nothing yet?
Not any part. Pray, try another.
You shall have your will. I double my command and power, and at the instant of this hour invoke thee in the White Queen's name, with stay for time and shape the same. What, see you yet?
There's nothing shows at all.
My truth reflects the clearer then. Now fix and bless your fair eye with your own for ever. Thou well composed, by fate's hand drawn, to enjoy the White Queen's pawn, of whom thou shalt by virtue met many graceful issues get, by the beauty of her flame, by the whiteness of her name, by her fair and fruitful love, by her truth that mates the dove, by the meekness of her mind, by the softness of her kind, by the lustre of her grace. By all these thou art summoned to this place. Hark! How the air, enchanted with your praises and his approach, those words to sweet notes raises.
Let him stay a while, a little longer.
That's a good hearing.
If he be mine, why should he part so soon?
Why, this is but the shadow of yours. How do you?
Oh, I did ill to give consent to see it. Our wills are like a cause that is law-tossed. What one court orders is by another crossed.
I find no fit place for this passion here. 'Tis merely an intruder. He's a gentleman most wishfully composed. Honour grows on him, and wealth piled up for him, as youth enough too. And yet, in the sobriety of his countenance, grave as a tetrarch, which is gracious in the eye of modest pleasure. Where's the emptiness? What can you more request?
I do not know what answer yet to make. It doth require a meeting twixt my fear and my desire.
She's caught, and, which is strange, by her most wronger.
It's he, my confessor. He might have passed me 7 years together, had I not by chance advanced mine eye upon that lettered hatband. 'Tis a strange habit for a holy father, a precedent of poverty especially. Holy and reverend.
Spell me out.
Oh, sir, put on the sparklings trim of glory. Perfection will shine foremost.
Well, your business. I have my game to follow.
I have a worm follows me so that I can follow no game. Oh, a most faint-hearted pawn, if he could see his play, might snap me up at pleasure. I desire, sir, to be absolved. My conscience being at ease, I could then with more courage ply my game.
It was a base fact.
'Twas to a schismatic pawn, sir.
What's that to the nobility of revenge? Suffices. I have neither will nor power to give you absolution for that violence. Make your petition to the penance chamber. If the tax register relieve you in it, by the great Black Bishop's clemency, you have wrought out a singular piece of favour with your money. That's all your refuge now.
The sting shoots deeper.
Yonder's my game, which, like a politic chess master, I must not seem to see.
Oh, my heart, 'tis he.
That 'tis!
The very self-same that the magical mirror presented lately to me.
And how like a most regardless stranger he walks by, merely ignorant of his fate. You are not minded the principal's part of him. What strange mysteries inscrutable love works by.
The time, you see, is not yet come.
But 'tis in our power now to bring time nearer. Knowledge is a mastery, and make it observe us, and not we it.
Would force nothing from its proper virtue. Let time have his full course. I had rather die the modest death of undiscovered love than have heaven's least and lowest servant suffer, or in his motion receive check for me. How is my soul's growth altered? That single life, the fittest garment that peace ever made for it, is grown too strait, too stubborn on the sudden.
He comes this way again.
Oh, there's a traitor leapt from my heart into my cheek already. That will betray all to his powerful eye.
Look, he's passed by again, drowned in neglect, without the prosperous hint of so much happiness to look upon his fortune. How close fate seals up the eye of human understanding, till, like the sun's flower, time and love unclose it. 'Twere pity he should dwell in ignorance longer.
What will you do?
Yes, die a bashful death do, and let the remedy pass by unused still. You're changed enough already, if you'd look into it. Absolute sir, with your most noble pardon for this my rude intrusion, I am bold to bring the knowledge of a secret nearer. Pray, turn and fix. Do you know yond noble goodness?
'Tis the first minute mine eye blessed me with her. Clearly shows how much my knowledge wanted, not knowing her till now.
She's to be liked, then. Pray, view advisedly. There is strong reason that I'm so bold to urge it. You must guess the work concerns you nearer than you think for.
The glory and the wonder of this secret puts a reciprocal amazement on me.
And 'tis not without worth. You two must be better acquainted.
Is the cause affinity or any courteous help creation joys in to bring that forward?
Yes, I can show you the nearest way to that perfection of a most virtuous one that joy e'er found. Pray, mark her once again, then follow me, and I will show you her must be your wife, sir.
If there prove no check in that magical glass now, but my proportion come as fair and full into his eye, as he is into mine lately, then I am confirmed he is mine own forever.
The self-same the mirror blessed me with, from head to foot, the beauty and the habit. Kept you this place still? Did you not remove, lady?
Not a foot further, sir.
It's possible. I would have sworn I had seen the substance yonder. 'Twas to that lustre, to that life presented.
Even so is yours to me, sir.
Saw you mine?
Perfectly clear. No sooner my name used, but yours appeared.
Just so did yours at mine now.
Oh, why stand you idle? Will you let time cozen you, protracting time of those delicious benefits that fate hath marked to you? Oh, you modest pair of blushing gamesters! And you, sir, the bashfulest! I cannot flatter a foul fault in any. Can you be more than a man and wife assigned, and by a power the most irrecoverable? Others that may be adventurers in delight may meet with crosses, shame, or separation. You know the mind of fate. You must be coupled.
He speaks but truth in this. I see no reason, then, that we should miss the relish of this night, but that we are both shamefaced.
Oh, this night, sir. Did I not know you must be mine, and therein your privilege runs strong, for that loose motion you never should be. Is not my fortune to match with a pure mind? Fate, as hath ordained, sir, we should be man and wife, hath not given warrant for any act of knowledge till we are so.
Tender-eyed modesty, how it grieves at this. I'm as far off for all this strange imposture as at first interview. Where lies our game now? You know I cannot marry by mine order.
I know you cannot, sir, yet you may venture upon a contract.
Ha!
Surely you may, sir, without all question, so far without danger or any stain to your vow. And that may take her. Nay, do it with speed. She'll think you mean the better too.
Be not so lavish, that blessed spring. You wasted that upon a cold occasion now. 'Twould wash her sinful soul white. By our love joys, that motion shall ne'er light upon my tongue more, till we're contracted. Then, I hope, you are mine.
In all just duty, sir.
Then? Do you question it? Pish! Then you're man and wife, all but church ceremony. Pray, let's see that done first. She shall do reason then. Now, I'll enjoy the sport and cozen you both. My blood's game is the wages I have worked for.
Horn, I have spoke to the Black Bishop for thee. I'll get the absolution from his own mouth. And now, Quam, thou hast the pukingest soul that e'er I met with. It cannot bear one suckling villainy. Mine can digest a monster without crudity, a sin as weighty as an elephant, and never wandle for it.
Ah, you've been used to it, sir. That's a great help. The swallow of my conscience hath but a narrow passage. You must think yet it lies in the penitent pipe, and will not down. If I'd got £7,000 by offices and gulled down that, the bore would have been bigger.
Nay, if thou provest facetious, I shall hug thee. Can a soft rear poor poached iniquity so ride upon thy conscience? I'm ashamed of thee. I'm now about a masterpiece of play to entrap the White Knight, and with false allurements entice him to the Black House. More will follow, whilst our Black Bishop sets upon the Queen. Then will our game lie sweetly.
Oh, he's come now, sir.
Here's Taxapoenteriaria, Knight, the book of general pardons of all prices. I have been searching for his sin this half hour and cannot light upon it.
That's strange. Let me see it.
Wretched that I am, hath my rage done that there is no precedent of pardon for?
For wilful murder, £13, 4 shillings and sixpence. That's reasonable cheap. For killing, Catholics who stood for us and who, for such there were indifferent or against us. Killing? Why, here's nothing but killing, Bishop, on this side.
Turn o'er the sheet, and you shall find adultery and other trivial sins.
Adultery? Ah, I'm in it now. For adultery, a couple of shillings, and for fornication, 5p. Mass, these are 2 good pennyworths. I cannot see how a man can mend himself. For lying with mother, sister, or daughter, aye, marry, sir, £33, 3 shillings and 3p. The sin's gradation right, paid in all threes too.
You've read the story of that monster, sir, that got his daughter, sister, and his wife of his own mother?
Simony, £9.
They may thank me for that. It was 19 before I came. I've mitigated many of the sums.
Sodomy, 6p. You should put that sum ever on the backside of your book, Bishop.
There's a few on us very forward, sir.
What's here, sir? 2 old precedents of encouragement.
Ah, those are ancient notes.
Given as a gratuity for the killing of an heretical prince with poisoned knife. Ducats 5,000.
True, that was paid.
Promised also to Dr. Lopez for poisoning the maiden queen of the White Kingdom. Ducats 20,000.
What's all this to my conscience, worthy holiness? I sue for pardon. I brought money with me.
You must depart. You see, there is no precedent of any price or pardon for your fact.
Most miserable. Are fouler sins remitted? Killing, nay, wilful murder?
True, there's instance. Were you to kill him, I would pardon you. There's precedent for that. The prince set the price set down, but none for gelding.
Ah, I've picked out understanding now forever out of that cabalistic bloody riddle. I'll make away all my estate and kill him, and by that act obtain full absolution.
Why, Bishop, Knight, where's your removes, your traps? Stand you now idle in the heat of game?
My life for yours, Black Sovereign. The game's ours. I have wrought underhand for the White Knight and his brave Duke, and find them coming, both.
Then, for their sanctimonious queen's surprisal, sir, in that state puzzle and distracted hurry, trust my art subtlety with.
Oh, eagle pride! Never was game more hopeful of our side.
If Bishop Bullbeef be not snapped next bout as the men stand, I'll never trust art more.
Dumb show. Recorders, enter Black Queen's pawn with a taper in her hand. She conducts White Queen's pawn in her knight attire into one chamber, and then conveys Black Bishop's pawn in his knight habit into another chamber, and putting out the light, follows him.
Hello, noble Duke, fair virtue's most endeared one. Let us present their rank insinuation with truth or cause and courage, meet their plots with confident goodness that shall strike 'em grovelling.
Sir, all the gins, traps, and alluring snares are laid for the great hope of this game only.
Why, the more noble will truth's triumph be, when they have wound about our constant courages, the glittering as serpent their falsehood fashioned, and glorying most in his resplendent poisons. Just heaven can find a bolt to bruise his head.
Look, would you see destruction lie a sunning? In yonder smile sits blood and treachery basking. In that perfidious model of face falsehood, hell is dawn grinning.
The pain it is for truth to feign a little.
Oh, fair knight, the rising glory of that house of candour, have I so many protestations lost? 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 Quite lost? Am I not worth your confidence? I, that have vowed the faculties of soul, life, spirit, and brain to your sweet game of youth, your noble, fruitful game? Can you mistrust any foul play in me, that have been ever the most submiss observer of your virtues, and no way tainted with ambition, save only to be thought your first admirer? How often have I changed for your delight the royal presentation of my place into a mimic gesture, and become, for your sake and the expulsion of sad thoughts, of a grave state sire a light son of pastime, made 60 years a tomboy, a mere wanton.
Why, who could be without thee?
I will change to any shape to please you, and my aim hath been to win your love in all this game.
Thou hast it nobly, and we long to see the Black House pleasure, state, and dignity.
Of honour, you'll so surfeit and delight, you'll ne'er desire again to see the white.
My love, my hope, my dearest, he's gone, ensnared, entrapped, surprised amongst the black ones. Never felt extremity like this. Thick darkness dwells upon this hour. Integrity, like one of heaven's bright luminaries, now by error's dullest element interposed, suffers a black eclipse. I never was more sick of love than now I am of horror. I shall be taken. The game's lost. I'm set upon. The bishop of the Black House, having watched the advantage of his play, comes now to seize on me. I'm hard beset, distressed most miserably.
'Tis vain to stir. Remove which way you can, I take you now. This is the time we've hoped for. Queen, you must down.
No rescue, no deliverance.
The Black King's blood burns for thy prostitution, and nothing but the spring of thy chaste virtue can cool his inflammation. Instantly he dies upon a pleurisy of luxury, if he deflower thee not.
Strait of misery.
And is your holiness his divine procurer?
The devil in it! I am taken by a ring-dove. Where stood the bishop that I saw him not?
Oh, you were so ambitious you looked o'er me. You aimed at no less person than the queen, the glory of the game. If she were won, the way were open to the master check, which, look you, he and his lives to give you. Honor and virtue guide him in his station.
Oh, my safe sanctuary.
Let heaven's blessings be mine no longer than I am thy sure one. The dove's house is not safer in the rock than thou in my firm bosom.
I am blessed in it.
Is it that lump of rack? Is it that lump of rank ingratitude, swelled with the poison of hypocrisy? Could he be so malicious, hath partaken of the sweet fertile blessings of our kingdom? Bishop, thou'st done our White House gracious service, and worthy the fair reverence of thy place. For thee, black holiness, when death puts thee up, the silent grave might prove thy bag forever. No deeper pit than that.
My fear is past then.
Fear? You were never guilty of an injury to goodness but in that.
It stayed not with me, sir.
It was too much if it usurped a thought. Place a strong guard there.
Confidence is set, sir.
Take that prize hence. Go, reverend men. Put covetedness into the bag again.
Hold, hold. Is the black bishop's pawn the Jesuit planted above for his concise oration?
Ecce triumphis me fixum Caesaris arse.
There, my holy boy. Sirrah, Bishop Tumbrel is snapped to the bag by this time.
Heretica praeant sic.
All Latin, sure the oration hath infected him. Away, away, make haste, they are coming.
Si quid mortalibus unquam oculus ilarum et gratiam aperit diem, si quid permantius amicorum amis gaudium atulit peretiae latium eques candissime, quelusissime, felicium prectio et tua adoma condoris, adomum nigritude, adit accessum promissae, peperisae, atulisse fetimur, omnes adventus tu conflagrissimi, omnia qui possamus legi, gaudio congratulatione, acclamatione, animis observantissimus, affectibus devotissimus, obsequis venerandis, te sospitem congratulator.
Sir, in this short congratulatory speech you may conceive how the whole house affects you.
The colleges and sanctimonious seed plots.
'Tis clear and so acknowledged, royal sir.
What honours, pleasures, rarities, delights your noble thought can think.
Your fair eye fix on, that's comprehended in the spacious circuit of our black kingdom. There your servants all.
How amply you endure us.
They are favours that equally enrich the royal giver as the receiver in the free donation.
Hark, to enlarge your welcome, from all parts is heard sweet-sounding airs. Abstruse things open of voluntary freeness, and yon altar, the seat of adoration, seems to adore the virtues you bring with you.
There's a taste of the old vessel still.
The erroneous relish.
Wonder works some strange delight. This place was ne'er yet without, to welcome the fair White House night, and to bring our hopes about. May from the altar flames aspire, those tapers set themselves on fire. May senseless things our joys uproot, and those brazen statues move, quickened by some power above, or what more strange, to show our love.
A happy omen waits upon this hour. All move portentously the right-hand way.
Come, let's set free all the most choice delights that ever adorned days or quickened nights.
I see 'twas but the trial of my duty now. He has a more modest mind, and in that virtue most worthily hath fate provided for me. Ha! 'Tis the bad man in the reverend habit. Dares he be seen again, traitor to holiness? Oh, marble-fronted impudence, and knows how ill he hath used me. I'm ashamed he blushes not.
Are you yet stored with any woman's pity? Are you the mistress of so much devotion, kindness, and charity as to behold an arms of love on your poor sufferer yet, for your sake only.
Sir, for the reverend respect you ought to give to sanctity, though none to me, in being her servant vowed and wear her livery, if I might counsel, you should never speak the language of unchasteness in that habit. The world's a stage on which all parts are played. You'd think it most absurd to see a devil presented here, there, not in a devil's shape, or, wanting one, to send him out in yours. You'd rail at that for an absurdity, no college e'er committed. For decorum's sake, then, for pity's cause, for sacred virtue's honor, if you still persist in your devil's part, present him as you should do. And let one that carries up the goodness of the play come in that habit, and I'll speak with him. Then will the parts be fitted, and the spectators know which is which. Those you have seduced, if there be any in the assembly, when they see what manner you play your game with me, they cannot love you. Is there so little hope of you to smile, sir?
Yes, at your fears, at the ignorance of your power, the little use you make of time, youth, fortune, knowing you have a husband for lust's shelter, you dare not yet make bold with friends' comfort. This is the plague of weakness.
So hot burning, the syllables of sin fly from his lips, as if the letter came new cast from hell.
Well, setting by the dish you loathe so much, which hath been heartily tasted by your betters, I come to marry you to the gentleman that last enjoyed you. I hope that pleases you. There's no immodest relish in that office.
Strange of all men he should first light on him to tie that holy knot that sought to undo me. Were you requested to perform that business, sir?
I name you a sure token.
As for that, sir, now you're most welcome, and my fair hopes of you. You'll never break the sacred knot you tie once with any lewd soliciting hereafter?
But all the crafts in getting of it knit. You're all on fire to make your cousining market. I am the marrier. I'm the man. Do you know me? Do you know me? Nice iniquity, strict luxury, and holy whoredom that would clap on marriage with all hot speed to solder up your game? Maid, swear still you're no worse now. I left you as I found you. Have I startled you? I'm quick with you now for my discovery, your outcries and your cunning. Farewell, brokage.
Nay, stay, and hear me but give thanks a little, if your ear can endure a work so gracious. Then you may take your pleasure.
I have done that.
That power that hath preserved me from the devil.
How?
This that may challenge the chief chair in hell, and sit above his master.
Bring in merit.
That suffered him through blind lust to be led last night to the action of some common bed.
Not over common neither.
Huh, what voice is that?
Of virgins be thou ever honored. Now you may go. You here have given thanks, sir.
It's a strange game. Did not I lie with you?
No.
What the devil art thou?
I will not answer you, sir, after Thanksgiving.
Why, you made promise to me after the contract.
Yes?
Mischief confound thee. I speak not to thee. You were prepared for it, and set your joys more high.
Then you could reach, sir.
This is some bawdy pawn. I'll slit the throat on't.
What? Offer violence to your bedfellow? To one that works so kindly without rape?
My bedfellow?
Do you plant your scorn against me? Why, when I was probationer at Brussels, that engine was not known. Then adoration filled up the place, and wonder was in fashion. Is turned to the wild seed of contempt so soon? Can 5 years stamp a board? Pray, look upon me, sir. I've youth enough to take it. 'Tis no longer since you were chief agent for the transportation of ladies' daughters, if you be remembered. Some of their portions I could name. Who pursued 'em, too. They were soon dispossessed of worldly cares that came into your fingers.
Shall I hear her?
Holy derision, yes, till thy ears swell with thine own venom, thy profane life's vomit. Whose niece was she you poisoned with child twice, and gave her out possessed with a foul spirit when 'twas indeed your bastard?
I'm taken in my own toils.
I'm lost.
Do we have a white bishop's pawn?
We're just
It's
after
me, but
enter
I'm
white.
lost.
We're after, on my screen it's page 45, bottom page 45, top of 46. I'm taken in mine own toils. It says enter white queen and white bishop's pawn, and then white bishop's
Yeah,
pawn.
I had it, but then somehow in turning on my camera, I scrolled past it. Give me a second. Sorry. Yeah. You're taken in your toils. Yes, and 'tis just you should be.
And thou, lewd pawn, the shame of womanhood.
I'm lost of all hands.
And I cannot feel the weight of my perdition. Now he's taken, doth not the burden of a grasshopper.
Thou whore of order, cockatrice in voto.
Yon's the white bishop's pawn. I'll play at his heart now.
How now, black villain? Wouldst thou heap a murder on thy first foul offence? O merciless bloodhound, 'tis time thou wert taken.
Death prevented.
For thy sake and that partner in thy shame, I'll ne'er know any man farther than thy name.
You have enriched my knowledge, royal sir, and my content together.
Instead of riot, we set you only welcome. Surfeit is a thing that's seldom heard of in these parts.
I hear of the more virtue when I misont.
We do not use to bury in our bellies 200,000 ducats and then boast on it, or exercise the old Roman painful idleness with care of fetching fishes far from home. We cram no birds, nor Epicurean-like enclose some creeks of the sea as Sergius Orata did, nor do we imitate that arch gourmandizer with 22 courses at one dinner, and betwixt every course he and his guests washed and used women, then sat down and strengthened, lust swimming in their dishes, which no sooner was tasted, but was ready to be vented.
Impious epicures!
We commend rather of two extremes the parsimony of Pertinax, who had half lettuces set up to serve again, or his successor Julian, that would make 3 meals of a lean hare, and often sup with a green fig and wipe his beard, as we can.
Well, you're as sound a spokesman, sir, for parsimony, clean abstinence, and scarce 1 meal a day, as e'er spoke with tongue.
Censure him mildly, sir. 'Twas but to find discourse.
Ill raised of anything.
I shall be half afraid to feed hereafter.
Or I, beshrew my heart, for I fear fatness. The fog of fatness as I fear a dragon. The comeliness I wish for, that's as glorious.
Your course is wondrous strict. I should transgress, sure, were I to change my side, as you've much wrought me.
How you misprise! This is not meant to you, Wood. You that are wound up to the height of feeding by clime and custom are dispensed with all. You may eat kid, cabrito, calf, and tons. Eat and eat every day, twice, if you please.
Well, for the food I'm happily resolved, but for the diet of my disposition there comes a trouble. You will hardly find food to please that.
It must be a strange nature we cannot find a dish for, having policy, the master cook of Christendom, to dress it. Pray, name your nature's diet.
The first mess is hot ambition.
Puh, that's but served in puff paste. Alas, the meanest of our cardinal's cooks can dress that dinner. Your ambition, sir, can fetch no further compass than the world.
That's certain, sir.
We're about that already. And in the large feast of our vast ambition, we count but the white kingdom whence you come from, the garden for our cook to pick his salads. The food's lean France, larded with Germany, before which comes the grave, chaste seigneury of Venice, served in, capon-like, in white broth.
Here's meat enough in conscience for ambition.
If there be any want, there's Switzerland, Polonia, and such pickled things will serve to furnish out the table.
You say well, sir. But here's the mystery. I tell you in private.
Oh, we're your cabinets.
When I have stopped the mouth of one vice, as another gapes for food. I'm as covetous as a barren womb, to crave, or what's more ravenous.
We're for you, sir. Call you that heinous? That's good husbandry.
But how shall I bestow the vice I bring, sirs? You quite forget me. I shall be shut out by your strict key of life.
Is yours so vile, sir?
Some that are pleased to make a wanton on it call it infirmity of blood, flesh frailty. But certain there's a worse name in your books for it.
The trifle of all vices, the mere innocent, the very novice of this house of clay venery. If I but hug thee hard, I show the worst on't. 'Tis all the fruit we have here after supper. But is this all?
Are you ours yet?
One more and I'm silenced. But this that comes now will divide us questionless. 'Tis 10 times worse than the forerunners.
Is it so vile there is no name ordained for it? Toads have their titles, and creation gave serpents and adders those names to be known by.
This of all others bears the hiddenest venom, the smoothest poison. I'm an arch dissembler, sir.
How?
'Tis my nature's brand. Turn from me, sir. The time is yet to come that ere I spoke what my heart meant.
And call you that a vice? Avoid all profanation, I beseech you. The only prime state virtue upon earth, the policy of empires. Oh, take heed, sir, for fear it take displeasure and forsake you. 'Tis like a jewel of that precious value whose worth's not known but to the skilful lapidary. The instrument that picks ope princes' hearts and locks up ours from them with the same motion. You never came so near our souls as now.
Now you're a brother to us.
What we have done hath been dissemblance ever.
There you lie, then, and the game's ours. We give thee checkmate by discovery, king, the noblest mate of all.
Oh, I'm lost! I'm taken! Oh.
Checkmate!
No.
Vicious, covetous, luxurious falsehood.
Dissembler includes all.
All hope's confounded!
Miserable condition!
Oh, let me bless mine arms with this dear treasure, truth's glorious masterpiece. See, queen of sweetness, he's in my bosom safe, and this fair structure of comely honor, his true blessed assistant.
May their integrities ever possess that powerful sanctuary.
'Twas a game, sir, won with much hazard, so with much more triumph. We gave him checkmate by discovery, sir.
Obscurity is now the fittest favor falsehood can sue for. It well suits perdition. 'Tis their best course that so have lost their fame, to put their heads into the bag for shame. And there, behold the bag, like hell mouth, opens to take her due. And the lost sons appear, greedily gaping for increase of fellowship in infamy, the last desire of wretches, advancing their their perdition branded foreheads like envy's issue or a bed of snakes.
It's too apparent. The game's lost. King taken.
His house has given us the bag. Thank him.
Then they give you a whole bag to yourself. This fat bishop has so overlaid me, so squelched and squeezed me, I've no virtues left in me. You should find all my goodness, if you look for it, in the bottom of the bag.
Thou malapert pawn, the bishop must have room. He will have room.
Down, viper of our order, I abhor thee. Show thy whorish front.
Yes, monster holiness.
Commotion in the pit. Is hell divided?
You had need have some of majesty and power to keep good rule amongst you. Make room, bishop.
Here comes the queen. What say you then to her?
Indeed, a queen may make a bishop stir.
Room for the mightiest Machiavel politician that e'er the devil hatched of a nun's egg.
He'll pack a hole in the bag and get out shortly.
And that's all that's worth the bagging.
Crowd in all you can. The night will still be uppermost man, nor king, queen, or politician.
So let the bag close now, the fittest womb for treachery, pride, and malice, whilst we, winner-like, destroying, through heaven's power, what would destroy, welcome our white night with loud peals of joy.
And end of the play. Well read, everyone. All right, thoughts on this cut or on the play after this many readings for some of you?
Well, I like this better than the last one we did. I do think we need something like that ending. I do sort of miss the fat bishop, I must say.
Yeah, I miss him too. But there was something else that didn't quite. I think some of the cuts in the Black Knights in the Black Knight speeches either need a little bit more or a little bit less, because there were half thoughts somewhere that were a bit. I couldn't be specific. But it worked pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, the Black Knight speeches are tricky because my feeling is that in the final scene, he's really out of control. I mean, as written, the speeches are enormously long. And it's as if every time he says something, he thinks of something else, and he thinks of something else, and he just can't stop in a way. And it's partly desperation, maybe, to do what he's been desperate to do. I mean, the universal monarchy. But it does seem as if, he's being too clever. This is the favorite theme of somebody being too clever by half and destroying himself.
So I wonder if part of the answer is to give him really short speeches in the beginning and have them just build and build so that by that final scene, then he's really blustering full on. Yeah, no, that's really tricky to cut because also because they're so much fun.
Yeah.
I know, Aliki, you had pointed out in the chat one moment that seemed to not make sense if it's not separately the fat bishop in one scene.
Yeah.
What did you think, or what did everyone else think about in the bag? There seemed to be lines that I imagine were for the fat bishop originally.
Yeah.
And there's a reference to the fat bishop in the final scene that I think is just dangling without the fat bishop. I think we need the fat bishop back.
Yeah, but then I think we have to cut something else because we just barely came in time.
The White Duke could go.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if that's enough to give us the black.
I think the White King says, is it that lump of brain? Sorry. You go, Rachael. Sorry, I kept interrupting you.
Okay, go ahead. I think I'm done.
Oh, Okay, I interrupted you so much I didn't hear you.
Go ahead, Aliki.
Sorry. I was just saying that thing where the White King calls the Black Bishop the lump of ranking gratitude, and there's a little bit of speech that follows that. And that only makes sense if it's the fat bishop, because he says, oh, we took you in and you turned on us, basically. And that's not the Black Bishop story at all.
Right. So that part of that speech just really doesn't make any sense because it references something not in there. Whereas in the ends, they seem to be having lines referring to the Black Bishop taking up a lot of physical space, which doesn't not make sense, I guess, without the Fat Bishop. It's just weird knowing that it was the Fat Bishop originally.
I think what you have to do is either, make the Black Bishop fat and then get rid of the lines that to have anything to do specifically with the original Fat Bishop. I mean, I think you could get it to work that way, but just get rid of all that about his past, which is irrelevant really to the play in the cut version. I wanted to say how that checkmate by discovery ought to work, I think, because it's sort of a technical term. I think what happens there is that the White Bishop probably takes the Black Knight who hasn't been paying attention to him, and thereby is straight in a line toward the king, the Black King, and the Black King can't move anywhere else because of the disposition of the other white pieces around him. I mean, that's what checkmate by discovery is. You move a piece and then you see that there is another piece that's actually facing the king. And that would make perfect sense. I mean, they take the Black Knight and get him off the board.
I was just going to say that I think for me, a lot of the relationships between the different characters would be clearer on stage because of the setting and presumably of costume and appearance as well. Whereas reading it out, with audio, it gets quite involved and convoluted in places. I think some of that would be clarified by the staging.
Yeah, well, it really was on Sunday. I mean, the other thing I noticed on Sunday was that the White Duke and the White Knight can indicate a relationship, which of course is meant to be the kind of friendly relationship of Charles and Buckingham, and it then becomes much more effective. I mean, they're kind of glancing at each other and so on during a good deal of Acts 4 and 5. They become much better parts than you would think.
And yeah, Lois, so because Rachael had recommended potentially removing the White Duke, and then it would just be then, I think, the White Knight in that last scene with the checkmate. But if we only have the one white chess piece there, does that make the checkmate by discovery impossible?
Yeah, I think what you've got to have actually is those two moving into positions where without the Black Knight realizing it, they are now cutting off the Black King's possibilities for escape once the White Bishop moves and takes the Black Knight. I mean, I think it's a fairly obvious kind of chessboard situation if you see all these chess puzzles and newspapers and so on.
And I do think you would need probably the two chess pieces for that to be possible rather than just the one.
They're working together, and I think that is part of the point. I mean, I don't think Buckingham was terribly popular, but the one time he was popular and the one time Charles was popular was when they came back from Spain. And there was, even though that's not really how it happened in Spain, there was a general view of, they've outwitted the fiendish Spaniards, and somehow they must have done it together, and it's a great example of cooperation and so on. So I think, although the Spanish match thing isn't really very much in the play, you can suggest it there at any rate, the relationship of the two characters.
Other thoughts?
There were cuts in the Black Bishop's pawn, White Queen's pawn, Black Queen's pawn interaction as well, right?
I know there were cuts to the interaction leading up to the attempted rape. that I had recommended. Are those what you're referring to, or you're referring to a
Yeah,
different interaction?
because it felt less like it was overbalancing the play than it did in yesterday's text.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was good was that that build up to the appearance, the black queen's pawn says that she'll test the power of the name of the white queen's pawn by calling on, invoking the spirit in the names of a couple of other people first, and that went on forever. And the main bit is just to get him there. So there were cuts. I mean, we got a shorter version, I think, of both invocations. You could possibly even cut one altogether. I don't know, but it's perhaps more effective if she does two names, and then finally the name of the White Queen's pawn, brings.
Yeah,
Gotta have the magic three.
I'm not sure that there were significant cuts from recollection of the scripts we've been working on over the last week or so. Those felt to be pretty well the same length, and I think there is maybe a possibility for trimming that sequence a little bit.
This is right before the mirror reveal.
Yeah.
I was feeling that could probably get some cuts if needed. Like, not that it's necessary, but I don't think we need to lose it, but if we need it for time.
Yeah, I went through that scene quite carefully and sent Rob a few suggestions, but I did keep the two names prior to the White Queen's pawn because I thought, anyway.
It needs the three, but I think that session is a bit too wordy. It slows the action down a bit.
I'll go over it again.
The same thing about the next bit where he's walking back and forth, ignoring them, and the Black Queen's pawn is commenting on him. I think some of that could go too.
Yeah, Rachael, if you want to, good job making cuts that, because it didn't feel like we lost anything. Like, it felt like the scene really worked. But yeah, if you want to look at that section again before the mirror reveal and send to Rob any of your
I read
thoughts.
White Queen's pawn twice, 2 days running, and so I had a good sense of what seemed unnecessary.
Right.
But, I had our back and forth for 2 days in a row. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, I felt that way about the Black Bishop's pawn earlier. Rachael, do you also want to look at that exchange when he comes in and the Black Bishop's pawn is in his gallant habit?
I can do. I'm going to go through the script and send another round of suggestions to Rob later.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, I've gathered some of the thoughts that people put in the chat, and might make some specific suggestions to Rob based on some of those, or I'll just leave the comments as they came, depending. Any other thoughts on this cut or anything else in this play, this second to last time of this series of looking at it?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear what Sarah's reaction to it, having come to it pretty well cold.
I don't really feel qualified to speak, honestly. I enjoyed my roles very much. As someone who does not play chess, I found it a little bit confusing, but actually not as confusing as I thought I would. I kind of got what was happening more or less in terms of the power play being like the moves on the board. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was too long. I mean, I've been listening to you all talk about cutting it down. I felt it flowed really well and was a good length, but I've got no means for comparison.
We're about 10k words short of what we started with last week.
Could you follow the plot okay?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, because I don't play chess, I think probably I missed a lot of the subtleties. But yeah, no, I did follow the plot, and I mean, I'm blessed with a very visual mind, so I could sort of see the characters coming on and off, and kind of I could sort of see in my head how that would maybe fit with, you know, a strategy in a game. Even though I don't really know the rules of the game, I kind of know basically how the pieces move. So yeah, I did kind of follow the plot, and I think if you know, like David was saying, I think if you had the actual visual as well, I don't think any audience member would have difficulty following it with the visuals, even if they didn't know the game of chess.
Well, that was the comment on Sunday, that it was just amazingly clear, and it was.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have very, very effective visual clues as well, and it really was very well done. But
that's good to know, because I found previously, trying to read it myself ages ago, that it was very confusing, you know, because I was trying to follow it as a game of chess, I think, in my head, and I just gave up. But in fact, I think that I got the feeling just with this reading, and I'm sure it would be more on stage, that you don't need to really follow the intricacies of each little move. It's more the general sense of, well, there's the bad guys over here and they're deceiving people and trying to put people in impossible situations and all the rest of it. And that, you know, it's got something to do with politics, but again, you don't really need to know all the ins and outs of the Jacobean court at the time, I think, for it to come alive on stage. It's the things like the repartee and the boastful insults and all that sort of thing that come across best, I think, for me.
Yeah, Rob actually quoted somebody or other who said that I think he'd gone to the play, but he didn't know how to play chess, so he didn't get a lot out of it. But in fact, I think the argument was that it's not really that much about chess. I mean, what I was suggesting was just that at a few points where they actually specifically mention that a pawn and a bishop are doing something, or, you know, that there's an actual reference to the game, that one could either have on a screen something showing the pieces moving that way, or a diagram, a whiteboard, I don't know, just something. But it doesn't work all through the play, but there are just certain moments where it does work as a chess game, and one might as well make the most of it, because it shows how clever those bits are, and they're, especially since the audience won't get most of the political stuff.
So I know there was some discussion, some desire potentially to have the fat bishop back in, if possible. Is that an overwhelming consensus of the room, and or are there any other bits that anyone's like, I really want this part back in?
Do you want to do hands up, or how shall we see?
If you really think the fat bishop should be fit into the next cut, raise your hand.
Well, I mean, again, I'm thinking of the performance where Liza was really so funny as the fat bishop. I mean, I just can't imagine it without her.
Can I also again suggest we really need the White Queen's Pawns epilogue?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Epilogue. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't make any promises about what Rob will have time for for all that, or what he'll think, but I will pass along Fat Bishop and the White Queen's Pawns epilogue.
I mean, it's only a dozen lines. If
it really motivates me to find more cuts to get those two things back in.
Mm-hmm.
I would just add that I felt not much longer overall. You know, this is a good sort of playing length, I would say, because otherwise putting lots of stuff back in might further complicate trying to follow all the tactics and who's doing what to whom at particular points, and just needs to be simplified and streamlined as much as possible, I would feel.
The doubling today was not entirely helpful. Certainly Lynn found she was talking to herself at one point.
Poor Lynn.
Yeah. And we did it. We are actually.
I was like completely unprepared. It's like, oh, wait, I'm looking around. Oh, yeah, that's me.
And we were slightly over length, although, of course, if this were being performed, I take it this is the podcast version. I mean, it's not a visual version, because it would take a lot longer if you did that bit with the statues moving and the music and so on. I mean, that would be quite an elaborate bit. In fact, I don't think if it's being done as a sort of radio play, then presumably there'd just be some music in the background. But we did take a little longer than we should have. I mean, I kept having problems getting in my bits, and other people did too. And
we had some miscues, and
Yeah.
a good pace might shorten it up more than we think.
I think it's at
Yes.
least 5 minutes shorter than it was in our version. Yeah.
Speaking of taking longer, I think that's a good time to wrap up the session. Thank you, readers, and thank you, viewers. Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Have a good one.
I'll be there tomorrow. Just a reminder. Sorry. Thank you.